What's up, people? This is Greg, aka Crazy G, once again, and I'm back at the interview job as always. And today we're doing it again, and this time we have a local guy on the phone with us. He is part of a band that is made up of Kevin Whitman, Todd Bidwell, Craig Carey, and his name is Rich Carey, guitar and vocals for the Thrash Metal Band RUIN. What's up? Welcome, and thanks for hitting us up here at NECR. How goes the battle, man?
It goes every day. We're just getting ready. I mean, we have our band battles and our regular life battles. I mean, as you mentioned, yeah, we are still a local band, as every band in the world starts out. And we're just, I guess the industry considers us an emerging artist because of what we're doing. So, long of the short is, we're getting ready to go on tour. We're leaving next week. We're hitting a few spots. We're hitting Boston. We're hitting New York City. We're hitting Philadelphia. We're hitting Chicago. We're getting all the way out to Minneapolis, and we're coming back to Rochester. And we're from Portland, Maine, by the way. So if that gives anybody an idea about where we're going and what we're doing.
That's totally awesome, man. It seems like you guys are ready to hit it hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, why not?
Yeah. Can you give us a brief description of RUIN and how the band materialized from the start?
All right. Well, I mean, if you notice when you were listing our names, there's two last names that are the same, and that would be my brother who plays drums, and I'm doing guitars and vocals. So we kind of grew up. My dad was in a band when I was a kid, so we were kind of native to New York. We were born in New York, but his band kind of broke up when he got a job in Portland because he had to raise kids and all that jazz. So he got this house and everything. We kind of grew up with musical instruments around us. So me and my brother always liked to come home after school and jam, and we started getting heavier and heavier, always listening to Metallica and Pantera and Slayer and stuff like that. So I mean, the neighborhood kids used to come over. We were always known for being those guys, that were making too much racket. And then eventually that racket started moving to the bar scene, and that was around 2005. I was just out of high school. There was still X in my hands when I was playing bars around here. So then it developed, we had added a friend in and added another friend in, so we got to our four-piece, but we started developing to the point where now we're opening for bands like Stuck Mojo, Strapping Young Lad, God Forbid, Soulfly, and now up to what we did earlier this year, opening for Soilwork and Fear Factory. So steady rolling, if you want to call it that.
Hey, slow and steady wins the race, man.
Yeah, hey, I guess that's, hopefully you're right. It sounds good to me.
RUIN is a hard-hitting, progressive thrash band. Your most recent work is called Rite of Passage. What can you tell us about this CD, and what, if anything, did you do differently compared to your first two releases?
All right, well, I mean, having been in the studio 2 times already, we had more of a feel of how this thing works. We did go with a new producer for the third record. The first 2 were produced by the same guy. So, I mean, if you want to talk about what we did differently, we shifted to somebody that was more geared to, metal in general and that hard-hitting sonic sound. So we were like, okay, let's go through this filter. And also, the writing process was much more focused. We actually took years. Like we had a little hiatus at one point where it wasn't like a hiatus where we were done. We had a lineup change after 8 years, but that actually prompted us to take a couple years and focus solely on writing our music. That's the most important thing, man. It always boils down to the music. And so we really took every aspect, the vocals, the lyrics. We were digging into ourselves to figure out, hey, what are we going to say with this album? We really wanted to have, you could read our lyrics and you can find messages. You can find things that make sense. So it's not just all barking and screaming about nothing. So, I mean, there was just a lot that we combed through. We just made sure that we were getting the best out of what we were able to do and taking all of our years of experience and just adapting it to, this is our record. This is what we stand for. So we take a lot of pride in it. We made sure that we liked it first, for ourselves, but also that in turn is for everybody that listens to us. We didn't want to let anybody down. So
right on, man. I can definitely dig that scenario.
Yeah.
I know one track that rips into the listener, and it is Reopen. What was the process of making that track like?
Oh, man. Well, that's the only track where I have, the process was really all the same for all the tracks because, we knew everything front to back before we got to the studio. That was the only one that has a Digitech whammy pedal in it, that really high-pitched noise you hear towards the beginning. That's 2 octaves shooting high on an effects pedal because we don't really do a lot of bells and whistles. We're kind of like a plug-in and play band. But, the recording process was all the same. You come in, you lay your drums down for the whole record. So every song's included, So there wasn't much anything different that we did to produce that song rather than the fact that it's a different song, so it has different things going on in it, I guess that's the best way I could answer that.
Yeah, and it's a great answer, man. Another one that really tears it apart is Living in Fear. Is there anything special that you can tell us about that track?
Well, that is the more down-tempo track. It's dark. It's you know what? We found as we were experimenting with our set list as we got out there, started playing this, going down to Boston and stuff. And we found that it was a really strong opener for us because it's a little bit slower and has it's not like overcomplicated. So if everybody's new and they haven't seen us before, it's like a nice introduction, I think, because they can listen and say, okay, this is real heavy and these guys are tight and this is cool. Whereas then the other songs ramp up with more speed. Like sometimes you come out with that stuff with the really crazy stuff right off the bat and it's almost like shocking, So, it's just my opinion, but I just think that was kind of a song that kind of leads people into being more familiar with what the rest of the show is going to be like,
Totally understandable. Failed Design is another one I really like. What went into writing that particular song?
Well, actually, there was a lot of different stuff going on in all of our lives, and just life, man. It can beat you down, or there's ups and downs. Everything's good, everything's bad. It's everything in between. And with that particular song, I felt like in my life I was going through some different stuff. I had a relationship change. We broke up, but it was over. Sounds cliche, but there was more than just that going on with the song. There was a breakup kind of thing in the background that I could feel that change in my life, but also there was death in her family and in my family all at the same time. So it was kind of like this whirlwind of all these different types of feelings and experiences that we were processing while we were still writing the record. So that record definitely acted like just like a catharsis of we were like processing and going through what we were going through as people and in this band. And that's what you see is what you get, man. We just wrote these songs, took our time with them. We were healing from different things over the years, and that's why we love this band. It's our brotherhood, and it's how we process our lives to a degree. So with all that being said, I got a lot out of that song. It has this vast, wide open kind of the mood behind the riff, I think, is a little lighter than the other tunes, even though they're all heavy. We're a thrash band, but that had a little bit more of an empathetic feel. So I don't know. I always get something. It's one of those songs that almost makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when I'm playing it live, because it's like I'm going back to these places in my life that everybody can relate to, going through these different things. But I'd say that song hits pretty close to home for me personally.
I got to be honest with you, man. That it always amazes me every time I speak with an artist and how they can go into detail on how their lives make impacts on their music. And
sometimes it's you're already writing a song and other things are happening, and that change. Your life is changing as the world is changing, and that's what you're putting out stuff. You're producing the stuff, so it's going to come from somewhere.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. But it's just really amazing how you can, any artist for that matter, yourself included, can take those instances through life and turn them into basically a work of art. Kudos, man, because I'll tell you, that's got to be one pretty tough thing to do in some instances.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes this is what it is for me. Sometimes with music, I put this stuff out, I work on it, you feel a little overexposed, like anybody can look into what's going on. It's like sometimes it almost feels like it's like private because of what it means to you, but you put it out there and then you see comments or what people think about stuff, whether they like it or don't like it. You know, you have to have thick skin. You have to just represent what you're doing, and you just gotta roll with it. You gotta believe in yourself first. So, I mean, I know it sounds corny, but that stuff's all true. You gotta believe in it, and you gotta keep on rolling.
And I gotta agree with you on that. It's a great philosophy, and it does work.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. There's not, you know, these bands that we love, you know, they wouldn't exist if they didn't believe in themselves and take the risk, you know,
right,
of really putting themselves out there and exposing what they've been working on for so long, and letting everybody criticize it if they want, you know. So
that makes perfect sense, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
You might have already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways, just in case it's different from this last question. What track off this CD means more to you than the rest, and why?
All right. Well, there's, I guess, you know, I might have answered that question. I mean, Failed Design was definitely close to me, but I will say that I have ties to all these songs. I hate to be so broad-banded with this, but, you know, there's different things like I could look at Along the Way. That was really cool in a different aspect where we're not getting all turning into scientists over talking about this, but Along the Way was one of those, it was the longest track on the record, and it was the last song written on the record when we were already scheduled to do drum tracks. So it was like in the last minute, and I was proud of the band, and I was proud of us in general, because we took this big song and drum tracks for next week, and we just mapped it out on paper, because we definitely wanted it on the record. You know, we didn't want to go to our producer and be like, oh, can we come back and do this? We didn't want to waste anybody's time. We busted it out, worked our asses off, and we just got this song done, and it became one of the coolest songs on the record, one of the coolest songs to play live. It's definitely straightforward feel. It almost has like an old school Metallica feel in some of the riffs. It's got that epicness of some of the tunes on like Master of Puppets and stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know. I could say that song, one that we spent a lot of time on the lyrics, and like I said, we were digging into ourselves and trying to figure out what is our message, what are we all about, you know?
Wow. Very straightforward and very in-depth answers. I love it.
Cool, man. Hey, that's us, I guess. We're overthinkers.
Yeah, you gotta be sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Who are some of your musical influences and why?
All right. Well, you know, I kind of mentioned some already. I was talking about Metallica. That was like, you know, one of my dad's best friends was a DJ, so it's like me and my brother who's playing drums. We grew up and we had all these records. We have these CDs, these promo CDs and stuff. We get to sift through this stuff, you know, and we get to, like, you know, we were younger, and we had to pick out the records that had, you know, covers that were looking all crazy, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be listening to this. Let's listen to it, you know? So that kind of a thing. And, you know, it's just, we came across Metallica. We came across Pantera. That was huge for me. I saw him live before everything with Dime, rest his soul, and I loved Pantera. It made me want to play guitar. So that's how I really got into it. I started listening to more heavy bands. I was even, you know, when I was in high school, I was going out to see Korn and different stuff that was more new. So I was really getting into anything that had really distorted guitars and, you know, some of this down-tuned stuff. And, you know, I really got into Lamb of God. I really got into Meshuggah. I just love going to shows, man. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to do the same thing those guys were doing. I was like, I want that guy's job. That's a cool job.
I said the same thing with radio and photographing artists. I'll tell you, it's like, I love it. There's nothing like it on the face of this planet, getting to pick your brain, you know?
If you're doing what you truly love, you won't work a day in your life.
Exactly.
That's what they say.
Well, it holds true. Ruin has a short schedule coming up very soon. One particular show is at O'Brien's Pub in Allston, Mass. What can we expect to see from this show, and what are you guys looking forward to the most on this stint?
On the whole tour or that show?
Well, with that show and with the whole schedule.
I mean, you know what I'm psyched about is we just booked a band we added a band onto the O'Brien show called Epicenter. We're psyched to play with those guys again. They're from New Hampshire. We once played with them in Revere. So it has been a while, but it was like one of the bands, you know, you play with a lot of bands over time, and those guys kind of stood out to us because they had, you know, a similar thrash style and in their guitars and everything. So we're like, wow, we're used to hooking up with, next thing you know, it's a bunch of doom bands or whatever else is going on. And so we heard these guys, and they thrash, and you know, I was like, man, when are we going to hook up with those guys again? That was fun. So we called them up, and we actually got them added on to this bill. So that's another great band to come out and see if you're in the Boston area on a Wednesday. You want to come out for Hump Day and check it out, that'd be great. But the whole tour, we're just looking forward to getting out there. We got to get to these cities. You know, we're, like I was saying, we're doing Boston, we're doing New York City, we're doing Philadelphia, we're doing Chicago, we're doing Minneapolis and Rochester. So we got 6 shows, all spots we've never been in except for Boston, and we're just going to take it from there, man. We're going to have fun with this thing. We're going to get out there and do our job, and you know, we've been practicing hard, so we're going to be tight. You know, the shows are going to be tight, songs are going to be good. We have a cover that you know, we're not going to play it at every show, but we never do covers, so that's like actually a cool thing for if somebody is a fan of our band. We do have a really cool cover that we're going to bust out at select shows, and that's going to be killer. People are going to know it, so it's going to be a lot of fun, man. That's what, you know, we're trying to have a good time with this thing. It's a lot of work, you know. We're going to be driving for a long time, you know. In between, there's some good stretches of driving, so we're just going to make sure that we get through all these cities and get home safely. That's the goal.
Sounds awesome, man, and you know, I wish you the best on this upcoming schedule you guys got. Ruin has developed what I think a solid following, especially on the local level. What would you like to say to those dedicated fans of Ruin?
Well, I would just say stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing everybody at these shows. We want to, you know, we miss everybody when we're not playing. You know, when we play shows, that's the best times of our lives. Just like going to shows is the best time of our lives when we go to see the bands we love. So it's very symbiotic that way, and you know, it's just really cool when you're going out and you see the same people coming back. You know, like that for us is like they've already seen us. You know, that's what it's about, though. It's you know, we get to share that. You know, we get to share those nights, and so if we're gonna say anything to those people, it's thank you. First and foremost, thank you. Everybody that's even shared a post or liked something on the interweb, or just came out to a show and paid a $5 cover at a bar. Anybody that's out there that's involved in the scenes, all these different scenes, you know, that's what makes it happen. It's a network. So thank you to everybody that, you know, actually puts a lot of work into what they're doing and making these things happen. On the other end of things, besides being just a band, you know, road crew and everybody else, promoters, venues. Right. So thanks to everybody.
Cool. Awesome. Other than this schedule, is there anything else in the works for Ruin that you could share with us that we may not know about?
Well, we are probably going to be doing another music video when we get back from tour. That's in the talk. Also, we're going to figure out financially, once we get back from tour, where we're at so that we can plan if the next tour might be in the spring or in the fall. But we do plan on getting back out there next year. And besides that, you know, that's everything. We're going to try to do a video, try to plan on getting out there again, and that's a wrap.
All right, man. Well, hey, that sounds good. You know, I want to say, finally, I want to thank you, Rich Carey, guitarist, vocalist for the metal thrash band RUIN. New England Concert Reviews thanks you for your time. I wish you the best. I wish RUIN the best in the upcoming future.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that. Awesome, dude.
All right. Hey, you have a good one, and hopefully I'll catch you on the other side.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, keep in touch. Come out to a show. We'd love to meet you in person.
All right. Sounds good, man.
All right. Take care, bro.
All right. Peace.
Later.
That was Rich Carey, guitarist, vocalist for the thrash metal band RUIN. I am Greg, a.k.a. Crazy G, once again for NECR, New England Concert Reviews. Have a good one, and I'll be back later.